that represents their inanimate legal name, legal entity, that abstract idea of state, that creature of charter, that artifice. How can they do it? It's through recognition or recognition, or through your recognizance bond. The contract is mere inducement, meaning the contract is used to lure you. What does it do once it lures you? Creates the state of things, meaning it creates the status of things. What it's telling you is they use contract with terms and conditions within that contract to change you from your natural state to a different status. And the status that they want to change you to is one that can be charged with something, because a human being cannot be charged with anything.
Start your journey today by liking, subscribing, and sharing our YouTube channel, KnowledgeWell Media, or by going to our Square site at knowledgewell-media.square.site and perusing over the available content and information. Also by submitting your email at the bottom of the Square site page in the Stay in the Loop section to receive priority information, specials, and other insider details. Or by signing up for a 1-hour consultation to tailor your specific educational needs in beginning your journey. You may do so at the aforementioned Square site, once again at knowledgewell-media.square.site. Here are a few other items in demand on our Square site. The Person Defined series, a 9-part video lecture series, comprehensively outlining the scheme to artfully deceive mankind into trading away his birthright, his natural liberties, and inherent rights. Pre-orders for The Yellow Bricks of Emerald, the first edition, offered presently as an ebook only. This book comprehensively uncovers the legal schemes, past, present, and future, of the elite powers and the U.S., subjecting American citizens to servitude and allegiance due to their own ignorance. The KnowledgeWell Video Lecture Series Trust Course, a comprehensive lecture series educating on the history, effects, and administration of the wealth-preserving, asset-protecting, private commercial entity known as a trust. Plus, we have our very own template and instructions to help you set up yours. And, coming soon, our apparel and product store for all things KnowledgeWell, including shirts, hats, jackets, cups, bumper stickers, and more. For all this and much, much more, as well as for any questions or comments, email to knowledgewell4u@gmail.com or go to our Square site at knowledgewell-media.square.site. And now, you've been made free. What are you going to do with it? Welcome to KnowledgeWell Media. The information provided on this platform does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice. Instead, all information, content, and materials available on this platform are for general informational purposes only. Information on this platform may not constitute the most up-to-date legal or other information. This platform contains links to other third-party platforms and sites. Such links are only for the convenience of the reader, user, or browser. KnowledgeWell Media, its subsidiaries, and its members do not recommend or endorse the contents of the third-party platforms. Users of this platform should contact their attorney to obtain advice with respect to any particular legal matter. No party, user, or browser of this platform should act or refrain from acting on the basis of information on this platform without first seeking legal advice from counsel in the relevant jurisdiction. Only your individual attorney can provide assurances that the information contained herein and your interpretation of it is applicable or appropriate to your particular situation. Use of and access to this platform or any of the links or resources contained within this platform do not create an attorney-client relationship between the reader, user, or browser and platform authors, contributors, contributing law firms, or associative members and their respective employers. The views expressed at or through this platform are those of the presenting host in their representative capacity only, not those of the individual private man or woman, who is separate and distinct. All liability with respect to actions taken or not taken based on the contents of this platform is hereby expressly disclaimed. The content in this session is provided as is. No representations are made that the content is error-free. Your participation hereafter constitutes your voluntary and intentional consent to and understanding of this disclaimer and notice. If interested, you may attain a video copy of this session. The minimum donation to do so is $25. Simply submit your video request to knowledgewell4u@gmail.com. State the date and time of the desired session and submit the minimum donation of $25 to our Cash App, $American Consulate. Turnaround time is usually 24 hours. Thank you, and enjoy the show. All right, it is time. I'm here, and I'm not here to play any games tonight. All right, not feeling any games tonight. So we are going to hit it, and as they say, quit it. Going to put down the facts as we do, and we're gonna keep it rolling. We're gonna keep it moving. We've been talking about civil death. We've been talking about the recognition of a human being into what we have now come to know as, let me turn on my light here and make sure you can see me clearly, to what we now know as legal entities, artificial entities. Some people call them straw men, and bling, it's a little bit brighter. All right, let me make sure I'm in the screen here. All right, welcome, May 18th, 2022. And I am so glad you are here. For those of you that have been supporting all the way through this, you are the only thing, or only ones, I should say,
strike that thing that have been keeping me going. All right. So it takes a lot to do what it is that we do here at KnowledgeWell Media, and we are going to keep it going. And again, we are talking about civil death. We are talking about legal entities, artificial persons. We're talking about state versus capital S state. We're talking about United States versus the several states. We are talking about the United States of America as opposed to the continent, North Continent of America. All right. We're talking about all kinds of different things. We are laying down the facts. All right. And we are making that grand distinction between truth and fiction. All right. So hopefully you are here tonight. This is the second part of the Legal Person Uncovered. I've done this at length for probably several years now, but apparently you haven't heard me. And so we are here tonight to clear the air, as it were. All right. So hopefully you are strapped in. You are ready to pursue, and not only pursue, but attain the remedy that has eluded so many. You have 1099s. You have Treasury direct accounts. You have people pursuing after all kinds of things on different spectrums, different spheres. Some of them are in the multiverse. Some of them are in the universe. Some of them are they don't know where they're at, quite frankly. But you're here tonight because you know where to come for the source of the information you so desperately need to make the distinction between yourself as a human being and those who are lost as, what are those things called? As, what are those things called? Zombies. Living amongst us, right? Or dead amongst us, as it were. All right. So make sure you hit that like button. I have 4 people watching and I just lost 1. So that's 3 people watching and I only have 1 thumb up. That's amazing. It's weird how that happens. But anyways, we are covering civil death once again, or AKA civiliter mortuus. Let somebody else know that you are here and that you are watching us and that we are in fact live to uncover that which has been covered for so long. All right. So let's go right away to our announcements. Make sure you get over to the Patreon right there, patreon.com/KnowledgeWell for you. All right. And make sure you join up one of those tiers, $15, $30, $50, and $100 tier groups. All right. And that's how you get the inside information. All right. Becoming one of our family members. That's how you do it. Get on over there. All right. Also, SquareSite is where we have all of our artifacts, all of our proprietary information, videos, links to the videos. We have the Yellow Bricks of Emerald there you see on the left-hand side, which is a book that, a booklet, I should say, that was written by yours truly. It is footnoted, has all the proof and evidence that you need, all right? Everyone's searching for that remedy, that yellow brick road, or actually, they're trying to get to Emerald City, all right, in pursuit of that remedy that is all elusive. Well, I present to you the Yellow Bricks of Emerald. If you have not got it, then you just don't have it. So get over there and get it. And KnowledgeWell-Media.SquareSite is the way to do it. In the center there, you see the paradigm shifters. That was a 4-hour, how shall I put it, webinar that was done a few months back. And if you've been to any one of our sessions here at KnowledgeWell Media, you can just imagine what you might find, what treasures, what gold, what silver you might unearth there. Paradigm shifters. So what are you waiting for? Get it. Also t-shirts, what else we have? Thermoses, cup holder protectors, and what have you. All right, you can get all of that and much more over there at this KnowledgeWell-Media.Square.site. All right, moving on. Consultations. If you'd like to have a one-on-one consultation with yours truly to uncover and unearth those things that affect you and your family, you want to aver your proper status and standing, you might want to get on over there and get a consultation. All right, we can discuss things like trust education. We can discuss things like law issues, family relations, like child support,
maybe, divorce, annulments, private rights, and much more. All right, get on over there to the KnowledgeWell the number 4, the letter U at gmail.com. Moving forward. And last but certainly not least, we depend on your financial support in order to do programming such as this. You came here for something that you knew would help you. So it would behoove you to support programming like this in order for us to stay around or stick around, whichever you prefer. You can do that at the Cash App, $ American Consulate. All right, no amount is too small. $2, $5, $10, whichever you prefer. Just get it done. All right. And with that being said, we're going to continue with that super important topic of the legal person and go forward with uncovering it. All right. We'll be right back in a moment. Stick around. All right, and we are back. Let's get it going. All right, so hopefully you will be chatting with me in the live chat. Albert Taylor is with us. He says 7 people are watching now. I still don't show that, but you know how the algorithm goes. Make sure that when you come in that you are hitting that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you're supporting over at the Cash App. No amount is too small, a couple dollars. Couple of ducats. It means a little to you, but means a lot over here for content providers such as myself. All right. Appreciate that. All right. Well, let's get it going. Live chat. I am monitoring it. If you have something you want to say, if you have any comments, I don't care whether it's adverse to my position or for my position. Put it in the live chat and give me an opportunity to respond. I appreciate that. All right. Let's cut the music and let's get down to business. Albert Taylor, thank you for being here. Thank you for letting it be known that you are here, in fact, okay? Let's go. We have been talking about civiliter mortuus. I'll do a brief recap, and then we'll move forward, okay? We did an hour and 40, almost 2 hours worth of the first session. So if you have not caught that, look in the description of this video and others to find the first part 1, excuse me, of the civiliter mortuus discussion. All right. And I'm not going to spend much time in recap, but I will do a little recap just to put us on par with where we need to be. All right, here we go. If I can get things to work properly tonight. Okay, so you see right here, we're at the Law Dictionary. Just doing a recap, the Law Dictionary. This is actually featuring Black's Law Dictionary, free online legal dictionary, 2nd edition. And those legal professionals would have you believe that this is outdated, that you should not pay attention to it. It means nothing. Don't be dissuaded or persuaded by it. But disregard. It is not advantageous to their position in order to support such things, because wouldn't you know it that they would want you to forget about the past, forget about the history, and only think about the now that they have established through their legalities and tornments and what have you? Doesn't that make sense? Why would they want you to look into the history? There's a saying that those who don't know their history, don't know where they've come from, excuse me, are doomed to repeat, right, their history. And so, yeah, it would be advantageous to their position to get us to not consider those things in that history that we've come from. Okay? So I would caution you,
Don't fall for the okie doke. But anyways, what is civilator mortuus? Civilator mortuus is to be considered or construed civilly dead. Civilly dead. What does civilly dead mean? Dead in the view of the law. So the way that the law sees you, okay, from its perspective, you are considered dead. The condition of one who has lost his civil rights and capacities. We established that civil rights are things that are afforded to you. There are privileges, benefits from the particular state or nation state that you have aligned yourself underneath, that you have pledged allegiance to. So they are granting you a benefit because of your allegiance. Okay? So that is, the condition of one who has lost those particular rights. It also talks about capacities. We've also established what those capacities are. What is a capacity? Perhaps we need to define that. We did not do that last time. So let's take a little bit of time to find the legal definition. Oh, not definition. It sounds like Elmer Fudd. Definition of, what was it? Capacity. Yeah, capacity. Okay. Let's just do a little bit more digging. Primary tabs. Okay, capacity. This is law.cornell.edu. In contract law, a person's ability. This is what the discussion's about. A person, let's not gloss over that term. It is a term. Okay. Ability to satisfy the elements required for someone to enter binding contracts. For example, capacity rules often require a person to have reached a minimum age and to have soundness of mind. So that is your ability. A person's ability is their capacity. I don't know if you know anything about electrical theory or frequency. You ever install speaker systems or what have you? They talk about a capacitor being installed. If you've ever seen one of the systems that were installed improperly, I might add, you'll notice that every time that the beat hits, the lower frequency hits, the lights dim, right? And so that is because there is a draw, immediate draw on the energy source, which would be the battery of a car. And so what you would do is you would install in between the battery, right? And the draw or the load, a capacitor. The capacitor stores the energy for a particular use, okay? And so when you're talking about capacity, you're talking about a stored energy or an ability to provide that energy for the load. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So again, in consideration, the legal definition of capacity, important to establish. You're going to hear this term or terminology as you pursue your remedy. All right. So again, capacity, the ability, capability or ability or fitness to do something. If you do not have a capacity, if you do not have an ability, you do not have the capability, nor are you fit to do something. Look, capacity is also a legal right or power. So anytime you see legal, you have to think government, okay? You got to think public, government. It's part of the legal system. It is a grant, okay? Legal or a legal right. That's a capacity, right? Power or competency to perform some act. An ability to comprehend both the nature and consequences of one's act. So going back, again, civilator mortuus, they're talking about the loss of civil rights and capacities. We're going to go a little bit deeper in a moment. And is accounted dead in law because, look, you lost your civil rights and you lost your capacities, your ability. You have no more ability. You have no more ability. You have no more fitness if you are considered or construed civilly dead. You don't even have an ability. You have it's a loss of legal right. Therefore, you are considered incompetent. All right. So moving forward, we're just doing a recap here and then we're going to move forward. Remember, If you recall from part 1, I like that Albert Taylor says flux capacitor. All right, Marty McFly coming in. Albert Taylor, remembering Back to the Future. The flux capacitor. All right, very good. So listen, what is civil death? Look, remember we started here, civilitur mortuus. Civilitur, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Mortuus. Now, it says civil death. So let's define civil death moving forward. The forfeiture, it's a forfeiture. What is a forfeiture? Well, let's just click on it and find out. Come on. What's a forfeiture? All right, I'm frozen up. Wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? I'm frozen up. You see this up here? Not even moving. All right. Frozen up. We didn't even get going yet. How do you like that? Let me see if I can unfreeze it here. Wouldn't you like that? Look at everything is frozen. None of my tabs are working. All right, here we go. We're back. Can't keep a good man down. What is forfeiture? Because it said civilitur mortuus, civil death is a forfeiture. A forfeiture is an involuntary relinquishment of money or property without compensation as a consequence of a breach or non-performance of some legal. Remember they said a loss of legal right? Non-performance of some legal obligation or the commission of a crime. The loss of a corporate charter or franchise as a result of illegality, malfeasance, or nonfeasance. The surrender by an owner of his or her entire interest in real property mandated by law as a punishment for illegal conduct or negligence. Okay? Moving back. So civilitur mortuus is a civil death, and we're frozen up again. Here we go. And as a result, there's a forfeiture. There's a forfeiture. Come on now, you got to work with me. Which is an involuntary relinquishment. It's against your own, it's against your will, but it's as a result, it's a consequence because of something you've done or a crime that you committed. That's why, so essentially you are in a contractual agreement, okay? And you breached that contractual agreement, and as a result, you suffer civil death. And you lose the rights and privileges. Come on now. Wow, this thing is really tripping tonight. Bear with me, y'all. Really? Okay. Yeah, you tripping. So you forfeit rights and privileges because guess what? Those rights and privileges were given to you by your master. So since they were given to you by the master, then the master can take those rights and privileges away. And those rights and privileges belonged at one point to an individual who has been convicted of a serious crime. So once you breach the agreement, the contract, the implied agreement or otherwise, the social compact, as a citizen, you forfeit rights and privileges. Moving forward, we're just doing recap. This is part 2. Welcome. Listen, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, in contemplation of whether or not you should consider U.S. citizenship, says what? It's the common thread that connects all Americans. Yes, common, in that everyone that becomes a United States citizenship or citizen has to enjoin or become part or agree to the citizenship contract. Okay? And that contract is the thread that connects all Americans. And it says we are a nation bound. See, those Americans that entered into that contract became bound, and it was not because of their race, color, creed, culture. It was because of the values of freedom, liberty, and equality. You see? You perceived that through that contract, through the inducement, through the luring, through the terms and conditions that were presented to you in order to harness that citizenship, you perceived that this was my route to freedom. You believed, hook, line, and sinker, that this was the only way to experience the dream. They call it the American dream. And you fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Because the grass was greener on the other side. Huh? You might have come from a small village. Maybe your ancestors came from a small village where there was dirt on the ground and dust, and they had to harvest plants, and they had to kill animals, and they had to clean the animals. They had to go and harvest the eggs from the chicken coop, the hen coop, whatever. And when you looked over, when you looked over to the west, you said, wait a minute, they have machines, they have an industry that does all that for them. And it looks so much easier, so much more convenient over there in the West. So why don't we pack up and head over there? Because they do it for their people. The government does it for their people, and the people no longer have to do it for themselves. That seems like a better deal for me, because I don't particularly like going to the hen coop. I think it's called a hen coop, chicken coop, whatever. I don't particularly like mowing my own grass. I don't particularly like hunting my own meat. I don't particularly like milking my own cows. When over there in the West, they have farmers to do it for them. I'm heading west. Convenience. That's what we went for. So because of the values of freedom, or at least the perception of freedom, at least what it looks like, because of what the liberties it appears that are over there in the West, and the appearance of equality, everybody gets a piece over there in the West. That's where I want to be. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here enjoying my history, my lineage, my culture. Nah, I'd rather be over there in the West. Now, don't get me wrong. I think most of us are learning that most of us came from here. You know, we were here as indigenous people, and we were replaced, as it were, right? A lot of us know that. Okay, so but we're not going to argue that tonight, because that's not the crux of the issue for this particular evening. We are on part 2 of the legal person uncovered. So we will visit that. We'll be back there. But let's move forward, all right? I don't want to get lost in the weeds. This is very important. So we are bound once again as so-called Americans because, well, not by race, not by our color, not by our creed, not by our culture, not by our, but by the value. What is value? Value, by definition, is the amount one is willing to pay for something. Huh? That's what you're bound by because of your belief system and your core values, what you hold dear. You're willing to pay the ultimate price. So a lot of people are willing to pay the ultimate price in their lives and their children's lives, sending their children over into wars that they don't understand. Huh? Because what are they valuing? Oh, this is a way to experience freedom, liberty, and equality. So I will willingly give up my child to go serve in a military, in a war that we don't understand. Huh? Okay. Let me get off my soapbox. It says throughout our history, I want to focus on these key terms, these terminologies. There is no such thing as waste when it comes to legal words, legal terms, our words of art. There's no waste. They do not waste words. Okay? Watch and listen to every word. Throughout our history. Whose history? Whose history? The United States. So it's the United States history. Were you or your family one of the founding fathers of the United States? No, you weren't. And in fact, in 1857, there was a court, Justice Taney, that held that African Americans and such who were not written into the original contract, the original bylaws of the United States experiment, We're not considered citizens of the United States. Therefore, and thereby, you're not part of that or our, So throughout our history, the United States has welcomed newcomers. Yeah, you're one of these. You're one of these. You're not one of those. You're not the our in this scenario. Contraire, mon frere. Listen, the United States has welcomed newcomers from all over the world. Immigrants have helped shape and define the country we know today. That's where you fit in. You're helping shape and define. That's what you're doing. Their contributions have preserved whose legacy? Our legacy. Now ask yourself, who is our once again? Yeah, exactly. As a land of freedom and opportunity, more than 200 years after our founding, they keep saying our. Why do they keep saying our? Because they're letting you know where you stand and where they stand. Know your place, know your role, in other words. Naturalized citizens are still an important part of our democracy. By becoming a U.S. citizen, see, this is what you do. You become. Because it's something that they've established. It's something that they founded. This is your in. This is your in. This is where you go. You too will have a voice in how our nation is governed. Whose nation? Is it your nation? But you want to be patriotic? Okay, all right. The decision to apply is a significant one. See, you're just applying. This is just an application process. Are you in or are you out? You make that choice. Are you in? Citizenship offers many benefits and equally important responsibilities. By applying, you are demonstrating. This is what you are doing. See? You, as opposed to what? Our. See the distinction? There's always a distinction. You just have to find it. You just have to find it if you know what you're looking for. Okay? You are demonstrating your commitment to this country and our form of government. Whose? Our. All right? So hopefully that's clear to you. We got to keep moving though. Remember, civil death is the forfeiture of rights and privileges of an individual who has been convicted of a serious crime. Remember, civil death is civilitur mortuus, where you are considered dead in the eyes of the law. You lost the civil rights and capacities that you gain upon taking citizenship. How do we know that? Am I just talking? No, because right here at the Immigration Services Office, they tell you important reasons to consider taking on a U.S. citizenship. They tell you the citizenship rights and responsibilities. So this is what you gain upon taking on citizenship. And this is what you subsequently lose and experience civilitur mortuus upon a civil death. What is a civil death? Okay, you're not working with me tonight. The forfeiture. See, you forfeit the rights and privileges of an individual. What type of individual? A citizen. You forfeit that and you become civilly dead. The law no longer sees you as living because you were only considered alive as a citizen in the civil society because you had attained civil rights and capacities. And what is a capacity? Again, before we move forward, a capacity. Come on now, work with me. Oh yeah, you tripping. A capacity, the ability, capability, or fitness to do something. It's a legal right. What kind of right? Is it a human right or a legal right? There is a difference, and you need to know that difference, and it's my job to teach you that difference. You have to know the difference between what is human and what is legal, what is natural and what is artificial. That is my duty, that is my job, and that's why you are here. All right, you'll get that teaching here, unlike any other place. All right, moving forward. It mentioned the loss, right here, the forfeiture of rights and privileges. Don't forget the and. It's a conjunction. It's not just one thing that you're losing. You're losing also the privileges, because upon becoming a citizen or taking on U.S. citizenship, you gain both rights and privileges. And what are the privileges that you have gained? I'm glad you asked. Here we go. It's called the Privileges and Immunities Act, Privileges and Immunity of Free Citizens in the Several States. And the people of each state shall free ingress, I'm reading right here, and regress to and from any other state. And this is the reason why, because you have, as a citizen, or you have attained as a citizen, the right and the privileges right here to enjoy trade and commerce. That's what it's about. You, upon, again, recapping, upon a civil death, or what is known as civilitur mortuus, okay, you are forfeiting, because of something you've done, some kind of a breach to the contract or social compact. You breached it. You disobeyed positive law, aka man's law. You've done something opposite to what you were supposed to do as a citizen. And when you did that, you forfeit, because you chose to do something opposite of what you were supposed to do. So therefore, they told you, if you do this, you are saying this. That is contract. That is consideration. That is mutual assent. Because listen, if you join a membership and they say, as part of this membership, if you do this, then you are saying that. And as part of the membership in that contract, in that implied agreement or social agreement, if you do it, then you admit to whatever the corresponding consequence is. That's how it works. Okay? And so again, you breached the contract. So therefore you forfeit what? One last time? Rights and privileges. And what are those rights? Just recapping so that we make sure we got this all out of the way. Everybody is on the same page. Rights and privileges. And what are those rights? Here at the Immigration Services offices, these are the rights you gain upon citizenship. Freedom to express yourself, freedom to worship as you wish, right to prompt fair trial by jury, right to vote in elections for public officials, right to apply for federal employment requiring U.S. citizenship, right to run for elected office, and, wouldn't you believe it, freedom to pursue all of these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are a grant from your master. And if you disobey your master, then you forfeit those because you signed up. You took the membership. Moving forward. And so not only the rights that I just listed, but also the privileges. And what are the privileges when it comes to a United States citizen? The privileges of, you're looking at it, trade and commerce. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you are paying attention. I'm so glad you are taking notes. And I'm so glad you're supporting. Make sure that you do. We'll be right back. How can they get a personal form or character that represents their inanimate legal name, legal entity, that abstract idea of state, that creature of charter, that artifice? How can they do it? It's through recognition or recognition, or through your recognizance bond.
Here are a few other items in demand on our Square site. The Person Defined series, a 9-part video lecture series, comprehensively outlining the scheme to artfully deceive mankind into trading away his birthright, his natural liberties and inherent rights. Pre-orders for The Yellow Bricks of Emerald, the first edition, offered presently as an ebook only. This book comprehensively uncovers the legal schemes, past, present, and future, of the elite powers and the U.S., subjecting American citizens to servitude and allegiance due to their own ignorance. The KnowledgeWell Video Lecture Series Trust Course, a comprehensive lecture series educating on the history, effects, and administration of the wealth-preserving, asset-protecting, private commercial entity known as a trust. Plus, we have our very own template and instructions to help you set up yours. And, coming soon, our apparel and product store for all things KnowledgeWell, including shirts, hats, jackets, cups, bumper stickers, and more. For all this and much, much more, as well as for any questions or comments, email to knowledgewell4u@gmail.com or go to our Square site at knowledgewell-media.square.site. And now, you've been made free. What are you going to do with it?
All right, and we are back. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your support. You know what? I wonder if I could do that. Let me see something real fast. Happy May the 18th, 2022, excuse me. Wanted to send a quick shout out. Let's see what we got here. Bear with me, we'll get right back. Looking at the comment section here, let's see what we got. Anybody talking? Nobody's talking. Claygorn. Mervin, hey Mervin, what's going on? Greetings. Greetings to you. Thank you for being here. Albert Taylor is here. I got two people talking to me tonight. Nobody's talking tonight. All right. Yeah, it's still moving pretty slow. So want to send a special shout out to Jake Richmond. Jake Richmond, I don't know if you're here tonight, but Jake Richmond was my only donator from last week, Wednesday, and sent a very generous donation. So I want to say thank you to Jake Richmond for doing that, for valuing your education here. I really appreciate that. And I see that you appreciate the work that I do here at KnowledgeWell Media, and wish more would get on the ball, as you are, Jake Richmond. So I wanted to send a special shout out to you for your support. All right. And with that being said, let's get back. All right. If I can find myself here. One moment. We were talking about, again, civilator mortuus. We talked about civil death. We established that civil death is the loss of civil rights and privileges. We established that civil rights are things that are granted by your master, as it were, whatever you might call them. We also established that privileges have to do with the privileges of trade and commerce. That's the privilege that citizens get, okay? Looking at my comment section here, wow, only 2 people, okay. All right, Albert Taylor said still listening though. All right, awesome. All right, very good. Okay, so privileges is traded to trade and commerce. Those are the privileges that a citizen is granted by the government. Okay, and so you lose those upon a civil death or what is known as civil mort tuus. Now moving forward, let's get back. So it talked about, and we covered last week, the new civil death, because they said, they being whomever, if you didn't catch part one, you have to go back and watch it. If you can't get access to it, it's probably because we've moved it over to the Patreon. And therefore, you need to get a subscription to the Patreon to have that inside information. But for those of you that have the information, that have access to part one, you'll appreciate part two. All right. So anyways, and if you want information on how to get over to the Patreon to become a subscriber, look in the description and hopefully it's down there. If not, it will be after this live. So anyways, the new civil death in the regulatory state, because what they are claiming is that they got rid of the old meaning, as it were, of civil death because, well, you know what? Let me share that with you here. Let me see if I can find it real fast. Here it is. This German commentator from 1916 in relation or regard to civil death said this: the recognition of the legal rights of the individual follows naturally upon the conception of the free personality. Hence, it comes that the penalty of so-called civil death pronounced upon a, look, living man is not consonant with our conception of justice. Therefore, this punishment, what punishment? Civil death, has been done away with nearly everywhere and is not likely to recur. Okay, there's a lot here, and I spent a little time, well, actually, I was in the shower, but I do watch my phone, my guilty pleasure. I do my research in the shower as well while I'm, yeah, so anyways, but I wanted to do something before we move forward. Let's look at this word here, because they said that basically to put the penalty of, oh God, this is just driving me nuts. The penalty of so-called civil death pronounced upon a living man is not consonant with our conception of justice. And this is, again, a German commentator in 1916. But let's look at that term, consonant. What is that implying, inferring, expressing, whichever? Consonant. I think that was what it said. Nope, that's not what it said. Let me look at it one more time. Boy, oh boy, this thing is moving so slow. I'm clicking on things and it's not. Yeah, whenever you go live, whenever you're talking about stuff like this here, wow. Bear with me. It's pissing me off too. Look at this. See all this? Frozen. See if I can find where I was. One moment. 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, so here. Consonant. Okay, so did we type in the right consonant? Okay, let's see what they're talking about here. Is not consonant a basic speech denoting or relating to a consonant sound or letter in agreement or harmony with? So this is what they're saying. Okay, so look, the recognition of the legal rights of the individual follows naturally, key term, meaning it's automatic upon the conception of the free personality. So legal rights, okay, are automatic upon the conception of the free personality. Hence, it comes that the penalty of so-called civil death pronounced upon not a legal entity, a living man, is not consonant or in agreement with our conception of justice. So they're saying that you know doggone well that living man enjoys a free personality. You don't apply a civil death to a human or a living man. What is wrong with you? So they did away with this punishment and said it more than likely will never recur. Are you following? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So let's go forward. But they did away with the civil death, but then guess what? They came up with what they're calling the new civil death. Okay? So look, even as civil death as an institution bearing that name withered, it was replaced with a new version, a pervasive system of, here it is, collateral consequences. So collateral consequences replaced what was then known as civil death, or the loss of civil rights and privileges and capacities. All of a sudden, this came into play because they recognized that you cannot strip a living being of their rights. You can't do that. So listen, historically, such a judgment meant that the person was dead in the eyes of the law. That's civil death, civil determinatus. Now the judgment means that the person, listen, y'all, if y'all don't know what a person is by now, I don't know what to tell you. You're not talking about, remember, they just determined that you can't do this to a living being, a living person, or excuse me, a living individual, a living man. So they had to put persons in the play, in the mix, because you can't do that to a human. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You can't do it to a human. It's not consonant with justice, as the German writer said, or whatever. Okay? Listen, the judgment means that the person has a shattered character. See, it's a character of a particular individual. It's not the individual, him or herself. It is a character. This is not merely a moral observation. It gives rise to a legal status. See, the character is a legal status. The legal status is what is determined, as it were, making convicted persons subject to restrictions on freedom, benefits, and rights. That's how you lose the right to bear arms as a felon. That's how you lose other rights. CPS may take away your rights, etc., because of the fact that you are considered a convicted person. You are considered one whose character has been shattered right here. And what is a character? A legal status. That's what suffers the blow. That's what has restrictions on freedom, benefits, and rights. Because you got those benefits and rights from your master when you took on the citizenship, when you pledged allegiance to the state or the government under which you become subject. Indeed, reading on, the Supreme Court has recognized that a felon, see, that is a character. God, this is really getting under my skin here. Look at this. Let me see what I got up here, because this is really getting on my nerves. Let me close that. What else we got open here? I'm going to close this. And what else we got open? All right. That might not help, or it might help. We'll see. Listen, y'all. It didn't say a man. It doesn't say a human. It doesn't say, you feel what I'm saying? It says a felon. What is a felon? That is a label, a legal label, in fact. It's something that is drummed up. It's something that is connived, constructed, which is what the definition of legal is. It's a construct. Huh? It's a construct. Who said you have to take on that title, that legal label? Who told you that? Who lied to you and told you that you must be what someone else calls you? Didn't your mom teach you better than that? You don't got to take a label that you don't have to accept what someone else wants to call you. Who told you that? Who made you believe that you do? You might want to check into that. Listen, indeed, the Supreme Court has recognized that a felon customarily suffers the loss of substantial rights. Yes, yes, yes. You experience the loss of substantial rights because guess what? How'd you get them? How'd you get them? By becoming civilly alive. How'd you become civilly alive? By gaining civil rights and capacities. From whom? Who'd you get them from? That's what you need to ask. Who'd you get the privileges of trade and commerce from? That's what you need to ask. Listen, however, these effects are not limited to those with felony convictions, as a wide range of civil disabilities. So not only civil death are we discussing, but civil disabilities. It's not just about civil death. See? Because they already determined, as they stated, that, hey, that's a little bit taboo for you to try to impose civil death upon a living man or woman. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. It's not consonant with, what did they say? With, what did they say? Let me find it. Nope, not there. What did they say? It's not consonant with what? I lost my place. One moment. Come on now. Goodness gracious. Now I'm completely frozen. All right, here we go. What'd they say? It's not consonant. Where's that? Look, with our conception of justice, it doesn't fit. It's not in agreement with our concept of conception. You can't apply this crap to a living man. It doesn't work. So going back, look, however, these effects are not limited to those with felony convictions, as a wide range of civil disabilities may result from misdemeanor convictions. See, even a misdemeanor can cause you to realize civil disabilities. Every conviction implies a permanent change because these disabilities will carry through life. That's why they keep a record. We talked about that in part 1. If you have not seen part 1, you need to go check it out. And the only way to do that is to become a member of the Patreon. All right? The details on that in the description. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button, that thumbs up button, subscribe, share. This is the only place you're going to get this type of information, this type of teaching. If you appreciate it, show it. For citizens, see, it only applies to citizens. It only applies to citizens. A prominent collateral consequence is the loss of civil rights. See, it's civil rights. It's not human rights. It's civil rights. A convicted criminal may be disenfranchised. See, who told you you had to take on this title? Who told you that? When are we going to stop falling for that? Who told you you have to call yourself a criminal? Who told you you had to call yourself a felon? Who told you that? Who made you believe that? Game over. Lose the right to hold federal or state office, be barred from entering certain professions, be subject to impeachment when testifying as a witness, be disqualified from serving as a jury, and may be subject to divorce. To this ever-increasing list may be added the loss of the right to keep and bear arms. There's your loss right there. How are they taking those rights away from you? Because you signed up, applied for, and become part of the citizenship. That's how they're able to take the rights to bear arms, because you're not being protected as a human. You're being subjected as a citizen. Do you get what I'm talking about? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? That's how. You start acting like a human. You start averring and declaring your human rights as opposed to citizenship rights, civil rights. What Martin Luther King, in other words, and others, you know, basically, supposedly and allegedly died for and pushed and marched for, huh? Yeah, that took you 100 years backwards, best believe. You never needed civil rights if you're a human. You have human, inherent, unalienable, and unalienable rights. Why do you need anything else? Huh? What's wrong with you? Who told you need something else? Who told you that your inalienable, inherent, natural rights were not enough? Who told you that? Who told you needed more? Who told you to trade away the human rights that you were given at birth? Who told you to trade those away? Who told you you needed somebody else's protection? Who told you you couldn't fend for yourself? Who told you that? I'm just saying. Listen. The effects of the loss of status. Okay, so we did most of this. We got to move on. We're encroaching. Oh, we are over an hour, so we got to move on. Okay, so listen. Let's do some more history digging. Okay, we already know what we're talking about. Civil determinatus. We're talking about civil death. We're talking about the loss of rights, privileges, capacities. We know what capacities are now. The ability to do something, to carry something out. Right. Let's go into the Dred Scott case. We've been studying this even prior to this part 2 study. Right. So let's look at what Justice Taney, let's see what else he has for us here in the Dred Scott decision, 1857. The words, people of the United States and citizens are synonymous. So wait, what? What? Albert Taylor says, can you expound on civil disability for a disabled individual? Well, civil disability is not necessarily having to do with a disability as far as a handicap. Civil disability is something you suffer or in place of what used to be called a civil death. A civil disability is considered one who, because of a breach of contract or whatever, you're no longer expatriated, or I should say exiled from the United States, quote unquote, or the United States of America. You're no longer exiled because of a crime or a heinous thing that you do. Now you suffer certain civil disabilities. You might lose the right to vote for a particular amount of time. You might, what else? You might, certain misdemeanors, you may temporarily lose your right to bear arms. You might even be able, you ever seen where someone has been convicted of something and then they lost the right to drink alcohol? That's a civil disability. Who can tell you, think about this, who can tell a human being what they can drink and what they cannot drink? So that should tell you we're no longer dealing in the realm of humanity. How can anyone tell you what the heck you can do, put into your body at any given time? Who can tell you that? In Christianity, not even God, whatever you want to call it, Yeshua, Jesus, not even he or it took away your right of free will. So how can anything else that is man-made restrict your natural liberties to do anything you choose to do? How is that possible when not even God himself does that? Think about this. So you're talking about civil, which further implies a membership. What is a citizenship? What is citizen? It's a member of a political community. You voluntarily subject yourself by taking on the membership. All you have to do is join. By joining, you're saying, I will align myself under the dictates of the man that sits on the throne. That's what you are doing. It is you who are doing it because you forgot who you are. And until you get back to the realization and the recognition of who you truly are, without subsidies of the government, without handouts. Until you get back there, you will continue to devolve from humanity down into civil subjection. Does that make sense? Citizenships, etc., etc. Until you figure out who you are, Pinocchio. Let's get back. All right. So the words people of the United States and citizen are synonymous terms. People of the United States, y'all, and citizens are synonymous terms and mean the same thing. This is the Supreme Court. They both describe the political body. Wait, who? According to our Republican institutions, there's that hour again, isn't that funny? Form the sovereignty and who hold the power and conduct the government through their representatives. Listen here. People of the United States are synonymous and the same as citizens. Citizens are subject statuses, members of a particular community known as a political community. They have voluntarily subjected themselves under the government of the U.S. and under the state in which they reside. Do I need to say more? They both describe the political body who, according to the Republican institutions, form the sovereignty. They form the sovereignty. The sovereignty is not one. The sovereignty is of they that it consists of, and who hold the power and conduct the government through their representatives. Listen, hold the power. Who holds the power? The sovereignty. Who is the sovereignty? It's the political body. Who are the political body? The citizens. Who are the citizens? The people of the United States. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Can I get 2 amens and 1 hallelujah? I told you, we're not playing around tonight. All right. So looking at the comment section, Albert Taylor's asking a question. So if someone became a national, can they still get funds from the government? Oh, I am so glad that you asked that question, Albert. I'm so glad that you asked that question. Let me tell you something. Has anybody bothered to make the distinction between, or the lack thereof, of a citizen and a national? Huh? I haven't heard many people talking about that. What's the difference between a citizen and a national? Do you know that all citizens are U.S. persons, but not all U.S. persons are citizens? Did you know that? Did you know that a national is a U.S. person? Yeah, you know what? Hey, I didn't tell you to go anywhere else for information. Are you picking up what I'm selling? Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? Who told you that a national was not a U.S. person? Who told you that? Who told you that? You want to be a national? Who told you that a national? A national is subject to the United States. Did you know that? Did you know that? Who told you different? Tell them to come see me. Tell them to come see me. I got evidence for you. So anyways, they are what we familiarly call the sovereign people, and every citizen is one of this people and a constituent member of this sovereignty. The question before us is whether the class of persons, you got to pay attention to the terms used. Class of person. You think that's a mistake? You think that's just something they threw in there? It has no meaning? They know exactly what they're saying here. Class of persons described in the plea in abatement compose a portion of this people. The question is, Dred Scott, the African Americans, this is where we're at, Supreme Court 1856. The question is whether African Americans, as a particular class of persons, compose or are part of this portion of people. What portion of people? The so-called citizenry of the United States, the people of the United States, the sovereignty of the United States. Huh? That's what Dred Scott was all about. Because Dred Scott was trying to say that I am a United States citizen. Albert Taylor said, drop it like it's hot. I plan on it. And I'm going to keep doing it as long as you'll support me. Okay? Look at what Justice Taney said in Dred Scott. I apologize. This thing is just not working. We think they are not. This is the Justice of the Supreme Court saying that the African Americans, this particular class of persons, they're posing a question as to whether they compose a portion of the sovereignty, the citizens of the United States, aka the people of the United States. He said, we as the Supreme Court justices think they are not. Not only that, and that they are not included and were not intended to be included under the word citizens in the Constitution, and can therefore claim none of the rights and privileges with that instrument being the Constitution, provides for and secures to citizens of the United States. Now, why are we here right now? Huh? Why are we here right now? Let's take a look. What is civilator mortuus? To be considered civilly dead. That means what? You are dead in the eyes of the law or the view of the law. What does that mean? The condition of one who has lost his civil rights and capacities. I contend that here, in your view, Justice Taney, the Supreme Court Justice of the United States, is simply saying that Dred Scott, 1857, you are not part of the people of the United States. You are not a citizen of the United States. You are not part of the sovereignty. Huh? You do not hold the power and conduct of the government through representatives. You are not one of the sovereign people. Huh? You are not a constituent member of this sovereignty as the particular class of person you are. Therefore, you do not have civil rights and capacities. You weren't given these. Huh? You are considered civilly dead. And what is civilator mortuus, or to be civilly dead? You don't have the rights and privileges of an individual, of a citizen. Listen. If this will hurry up, listen. You weren't given the freedom to express yourself. Come on here, y'all. Can I get 3 amens and 4 hallelujahs? Look, you weren't given the freedom to worship as you wish. You weren't given the right to a prompt, fair trial by jury. Look, Dred Scott, you foolish man, you. You were not given the right to vote in elections for public officials. You weren't given the right to apply for federal employment requiring U.S. citizenship. Nah, you weren't given the right to run for elected office. You surely weren't given the freedom to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You weren't given these rights. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you seeing what slavery was really all about. And it all came down to a little document that was put together, that was drawn up by none other than your founding fathers, those who you have worshiped for so long, who you've aligned yourself, you've pledged allegiance to for so long and didn't even know, perhaps, that you weren't a constituent. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. We are back. I'm passionate. I'm fired up. And you know, I'm just tired of the disinformation. I'm tired of people being dogged over. I'm tired of people being misinformed. I'm tired of all the AKA supposed gurus out here supposedly teaching you, trying to give you remedy and all that kind of stuff, and nobody's getting remedy. So it's my duty to get you to that remedy. But it's your duty to value your education, to come here week in, week out, get your pencil, get your paper, purchase the items that I put up here, the videos and all the content and all that kind of stuff, because it's all conducive to your learning. It's all conducive to you finding that remedy. I'm not going to cook the food, prepare the food, serve the food, and then help you eat the food. I'm not going to do that, but I will present you with the information you can disseminate through. I told you remedy is 2022. I'm tearing off the Band-Aid. I'm putting this information out there for you. You got to pick up your fork. You got to pick up your knife. You got to pick up your spoon, and you have to eat it. I'm not going to do all the eating and all that kind of stuff for you. I'm not going to dab your mouth when you get a little mess there. You have to do it for yourself. All right. Jet Speed is in the house saying amen, amen. All right. So we are moving on. Let's see where we at. I'm looking at the comment section. Feel free to drop anything in there that you want to, and I will respond as I see it. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. We have 10 watching, and it still tells me I have 1 thumb up. 1 thumb up. That is amazing. That is amazing. Well, I'm sure it's the algorithm, but y'all know what to do. The above link is okay. All right, let's go. Let's move on. Where was I at? I was going to read a little bit about the Thomas Jefferson Law Review. Let's see if this is something I want to do. I don't think so. We'll move forward. I want to get through these tabs that I've had up. The last time we only got through about 3 or 4 tabs, and so we'll keep going. Again, civil deterrent 2, civil death, loss of status, or civil rights, loss of privileges, and loss of capacities. Now, let's talk about that capacity. We've covered this before. I want to cover it again just to make sure that you have it, because I told you by the end, and best believe part 2 is coming down too. We took part 1 down, we put it over in the Patreon, specifically for those who have been supporting over at the Patreon, who have become members. We took all that information down because, hey, if you're not supporting, quite frankly, you know, do you really deserve this type of content with the facts and all that kind of stuff? That's up to you to determine, but I'm going to do my due diligence and make sure that those who do support us here at KnowledgeWell Media eat the fat. All right. So we're going to go over and start to talk about the capacity now, and best believe again that this will come down. I will put this over in the Patreon as well. If you are interested in this information, you want this content, you want access, all access to it, get over to the Patreon. I'll put it up for you one time so that you can see. The Patreon is where you can get this inside information. You want to become a part of the family. of true knowledge, true information, hard hitting, no holds barred. Get on over there to Patreon right now and join up for a select membership. $15, $30, $50, or $100. However you value the information that you are getting here with the facts. If you think or know that I am giving you those hard facts, then it would behoove you to get over there and help us stay on the air. That's how you do it. What does $15 per month translate to? Ask yourself that question, and then ask yourself, is this information of value to you? All right. And that's how you make that determination. All right. So let's get back to our study. We're looking at the application for a Social Security card. Let's talk about this capacity that you lose upon a civil death. Let's talk about what, in fact, you are truly losing as a so-called citizen that has experienced civil death, or AKA civil literature mortuus. Here it is. The application for a Social Security card. All right. We're going to go down to page 2 and look at the evidence of identity. The identity in law means sameness as. Okay? What you identify as is essentially you saying, this is who I am. This is the same as me. That's what identity means in law. So look at what they're saying. The Social Security Administration is saying, provide evidence of identity. So in effect, they're saying, provide us evidence of who you are, who you claim to be. Watch this. So you, the applicant, right? It's obviously a man or a woman, a human, because a corporation, a legal entity, artificial person can't fill out a form. So you're filling out this form. So they're saying, you, human, provide current, unexpired evidence of what? Identity. What did we determine identity means? Sameness. Sameness in your legal name. They're telling, let me get this straight. They're telling the human to provide proof or evidence, and in fact, unexpired evidence of sameness or identity in your legal name. They want you to identify as the legal name. Uh-oh. Now, why might they want to do that? And you as a human, why might you not want to do that? Huh? Ask yourself that question. Listen here. How can you do this? How can you, in effect, do what they're asking you to do here? Social Security Administration. Well, you can do it by this. As proof of your identity, identity means sameness once again, as proof of your sameness in what? The legal name, or as proof of you being the same as the legal name, or as proof of you identifying in your legal name, you must provide a what? A U.S. driver's license. So if you have, possess, or have applied for a U.S. driver's license, what are you doing? What did you do? You provided current, unexpired evidence that you are the same as the legal name. Huh? Who's teaching you like that? Who told you this before? Nobody but KnowledgeWell. Look, what else? What other proof can you provide? How about a U.S., whose property? The U.S. state issued. So who issues it to you? The state. Non-driver identity card. So do you have an identity card? And if you have applied for one, what did you do? What did you do? You provided current, unexpired evidence of sameness in your legal name. You told them you are the same. You identified as the legal name. Okay, You don't believe me? That's not enough? Let's try some more. There's one more here. What else? A U.S. passport. Did you get one? Do you have one? Did you apply for one? What did you do? What have you done? You provided proof of your sameness where? In your legal name. Because the legal name is the tie that binds. That, remember when we talked about the Americans, you're bound by what? Let's look at it again. They told you this. I didn't write this. This is the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. Look at what they said. Citizenship is the common thread that connects all Americans. And those Americans are bound not by race or religion, but what? By shared values of freedom, liberty, and equality. Guess what, y'all? Guess what, y'all? This is how you're bound. You're bound right here. This is establishing citizenship, et cetera, right? You're identifying as the legal name. I'm going to tell you what the legal name is. Huh? Are you bound today? Do you need Jesus? I'm just messing with you. I'm getting goofy. Are you bound today is the question, y'all. Huh? Are you bound today? Huh? All right. Look, how'd you do it? How'd you become bound? By identifying as what? Huh? The legal name. That's what you did. And you used these articles, these evidences, these proofs to do it. And didn't know what you were doing. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they did. All right, let me tell you about this legal name that they're trying to get you to identify as. We're moving today. We're moving. We're at an hour and 32 minutes. Huh? Part 1 and part 2 are going to be fire, y'all. Going to be fire, y'all. y'all better get with me or leave me alone. Your choice. Look, what's the legal name? What are they trying to tell you to identify as, huh? Wait. Similiter mortuus, you miss, you lose, you forfeit upon a civil death. You do something that Uncle Sam, that Caesar doesn't want you to do, and you simply will forfeit. Huh? No longer by civil death. They're not going to exile you. They're not going to kick you out of the United States, but they will impose upon you what are known as civil disabilities. That's the new civil death. Yeah, you'll have a civil disability. You'll be a legal handicap. Huh? Maybe even considered incompetent. You ever had a judge tell you that when you're trying to aver your rights and declare your constitutional protections? Huh? You ever had that? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's a civil disability. Yeah. Because they're basically telling you that you breached a statute, a code, an ordinance, a rule of the legislature, an enactment of positive law, which is separate and distinct from what is known as natural law. Huh? It has nothing to do with a human. This has everything to do with a citizen as part of the citizenship. You better know the difference. The only way you're going to find out is by proper application and knowledge. What is the legal name that these miscreants are trying to get you to identify as? Look, let's take a look. We've done this many times. POMS manual, POMS, program, operations, manual, system. EA Sports. It's in the game. All right, look. RM 10212.001. You hear it here, and you heard it here. Anybody else putting this information out there, you know where they got it from. All right? And if they're not giving credit to where credit is due, you know what to do. RM 10212.001. Let's define, or let's let the Social Security Administration define the legal name so that we know what it is. What is the legal name? A. For Social Security Administration enumeration purposes, a legal name consists of what? A first name and a last name. Don't get it misconstrued. Don't misconceive. Don't be misunderstood. First name and last name are legal terms of art. You do not, as a lay person, know the true meaning thereof. This is not what you did perhaps in grade school and elementary school and all that kind of stuff. This is not your conventional understanding, is what I'm trying to get you to understand, overstand. These are legal terms. That's what a legal name consists of. Now, moving on. The legal name, why do you have a legal name? What was the purpose of it? Why did the state create it? And why do they want you to identify as it? Here it is. The legal name is the name used to what? Sign legal documents, deeds, or contracts. They simply merely want you to participate. They want you to become part of the commercial realm. The only way that you can do so, because you are, alas, a human, is for you to take on a new capacity. And that new capacity is the legal name. This is your capacity. How do we know that? Because what did they say the legal name is used for? To sign legal documents, deeds, or contracts. Huh? That gives you the, here, listen to this. We went over it. The capacity. It gives you the ability. What is the capacity? The ability, the capability, or fitness to do something. A legal right, a power, or competency to perform some act. So, what is the legal name for? Come on now. To sign legal documents, deeds, or contracts. In other words, without the legal name, you do not have the ability, the capacity, the legal right to sign legal documents, deeds, or contracts. Are you picking up what I am putting down? Huh? Has anybody put it that plain, that blunt, that sincere to you? Just saying. Now, how'd you get it? How'd you get the legal name? Let me uncover the concealment, the fraudulent misrepresentation, etc., that was imposed upon you through unconscionable and adhesion contract. You were not disclosed these underhanded backdoor dealings. Listen, how'd you get it? How'd you get a legal name? Listen, here's how it happened. I'll be your huckleberry. Look, this is the instruction manual to whom? The employees of the Social Security Administration. Therefore, this is the instruction manual telling them how to do their job. Now, what is their job? Here we are. We're talking about the legal name. Given name and family name. Look at what they are told to do. Look what the employee of the Social Security Administration is told to do. Translate given names and family names shown on documents submitted as Social Security number evidence to the first and last name on our application. Look, they're telling their workers to translate your given name. What does it mean to translate? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's take a look. Translate. I apologize for the latency and the lag, but you know, they're going to attack me. They're going to slow me down, or try to at least. But you know what? The universe with me is stronger than those who are against me. How about that? What does it mean to translate? Let's see. Let's see. What does it mean to translate? I just want the simple definition of translate. Here we go. Translate. Translate. Where are we at? Come on, just give me a simple definition. Goodness gracious. Here we go. Come on. Nope. All right, I gotta do it this way. Definition. Oh, come on now. Definition of translate. Here we go. Here we go. What does it mean? Express the sense of words or text in another language. Are you kidding me right now? I thought we're dealing with a U.S. person, U.S. citizen, et cetera, et cetera. Why would the Social Security Administration need to translate your given name and family name into something else? Another language? Are you kidding me right now? Why would they need to do that? Let's keep going. Move from one place or condition to another. Look, interpret, render, gloss, put, express, convert. Huh? Change? Why would they need to do that? Why is the Social Security Administration worker told to take something that you bring in as evidence? Why are they instructed to change it into a different language? Did you okay this? Did you ask them to do that? Ask mom. Mom, when I was born, did you go to the Social Security Administration and say, I don't particularly like the name or the meaning of the name that I gave to my baby? Social Security Administration, would you do me one favor? Oh, surely you can. Would you merely translate the name, the given name, the name I gave to my baby? Would you merely translate that into some foreign language for me? Oh, ma'am, what language would you prefer? Oh, ma'am, never mind. I don't need to ask because in my manual it tells me to translate it into the first, come on now, first and last name. So, ma'am, never mind. You want me to translate it? No problem, I'll translate it. And I'm already instructed to translate it into the first and last name. So what does that mean, y'all? What does that mean? If they translate your given name and your last name, if they translate your given name and family name into first name and last name, then they essentially and matter-of-factly create a legal name for you. And if they create a legal name for you, they did it for purposes of what? Signing legal documents, deeds, or contracts, which in effect gives you a capacity, which is what? Come on now. You're messing up my effect here. Let's go. Let's go. I've hit it 3 times now. Come on. Oh God, you're killing the effect here. I was trying to be dramatic. But we're going to, nevertheless, we shall persevere. We shall overcome. Look, they gave you the legal name. They translated it to give you a capacity, an ability, a capability. They made you fit to be able to do something. They gave you a legal right, a legal power, a competency to perform some act. And now we know what the act is they wanted us to perform. It is signing legal documents, deeds, or contracts. I think I'm up to 5 amens and 1 hallelujah. But we can discuss that when we come back. The contract is mere inducement, meaning the contract is used to lure you. What does it do once it lures you? Creates the state of thing, meaning it creates the status of thing. What it's telling you is they use contract with terms and conditions within that contract to change you from your natural state to a different status. And the status that they want to change you to is one that can be charged with something, because a human being cannot be charged with anything. Most of you know that as the human parallel to this legal entity, this artifice of state, this creature of charter, you act as the surety for it. More times than not, you're ignorantly identifying as the legal entity. And so therefore that makes you the surety for it. They have to have a physical body or something to attach, leans to, and what have you. You're the one that provides the physical energy. You're the one that provides the labor for that legal entity. All right, so let's talk about this real fast. Scrolling across the bottom there is the way that you can support financially. If you appreciate the type of information you get here, you appreciate the delivery, you appreciate the content, the fact-based information, now is your opportunity to support like never before. $2, $5, $10, I don't care. Just do something. All right, just support, just show value in what we are doing here, okay? No amount is too small. I don't care if it's a 50-cent piece. Just do something. Don't just sit there and absorb, give back. The law of reciprocity, all right? You'll find that you expand, you grow that way, all right? So with that being said, we are going to quickly come to a close. We are at 1 hour and 47 minutes. Let's get back real quick and rehash what we've learned here in part 2 of the legal person uncovered. And now I am buffering apparently, and this is crazy. Okay. All right. So, okay. So looking at the comment section, Albert Taylor, let me see if I can, one moment. Let me see if I can address what it is you are asking. Albert Taylor says, so how to change it? Okay, so how to change which portion of what I am discussing? You want to change the legal name. You want to change the translation of the legal name. You want to change civiliter mortuus, being considered civilly dead. Be more specific, please. I would appreciate that. Albert Taylor says, did that happen to you or someone you know? Judge trying to make you stop. All right, so be a little bit more specific. Quite frankly, civiliter mortuus, civil death, it happened to anyone, most people that have experienced that have participated or been accused of violating some type of a statute, code, or ordinance of the legislature or what have you, okay, local, federally, or state-wise. Those are breaches of the implied or what's known as the social compact, okay? So that you experience what are known as civil disabilities. It may be a temporary suspension of a quote-unquote driver's license. It could be any of those things that you have suffered if you were operating while intoxicated, right? That, you know, they might install the breathing machine or what, I don't know what it's called, the breathalyzer in your car. Civil disability, right? You can't even start the car without, this is supposedly your conveyance automobile, but they've installed something in there that disables it so that you can't use it. That's a civil disability, all right? If they temporarily take away certain rights, if they put a restraining order on you, if all of these are civil disabilities. These have nothing to do with you as a human being. It has everything to do with you being categorized or recognized as a citizen of the state. That's what it has to do with. You have to know the distinction, draw the line in the sand, all right? And know who you are as opposed to what they want to recognize you as. All right, you have the power of self-determination. You just didn't know it, so therefore you haven't asserted it. I'm just saying. All right, so let me see. Let's see. We see fine. All right, moving on. Let's close this up. We're at 1 hour and 50 now. Let's close this up. Part 2. There will most likely be a part 3. All right. So, rehashing. We're talking about civil deter mortuus to start off with, right? That means you are civilly dead. That means dead in the view of the law. That means that you have lost civil rights and capacities. We now know that civil rights are those freedoms, all right, that you get upon citizenship, AKA, if the tab will work, right here. These are the rights you get or are granted or by taking on citizenship in the U.S. Freedom to express yourself, freedom to worship, freedom, right to a prompt trial by jury, right. That's what you get. Now, if you breach the citizenship bylaws, you lose those rights, and not only those rights, but capacity. That means ability. And how do you have, or how can you obtain a capacity in accordance with the United States or its citizenship? You gain it by taking on what's known as a legal name. That gives you a capacity, and the capacities enable you to sign legal documents, deeds, or contracts. That is to say, you are now empowered to participate in commerce and trade, which is a privilege that can also be lost as conveyed here. Civil deter mortuus. What is civil deter mortuus? Civil death. What's civil death? The forfeiture of rights and privileges of an individual. So you lose those rights that you supposedly and allegedly got upon taking on the citizenship and taking allegiance to the United States. Not only that, but you lose the privileges. What privileges might that be, you ask? Oh, well, let's see. I might have closed it. But those privileges are the privileges of trade and commerce. Oh, well, how do I get that, and how do I participate, and how did I come about that? You came about that by being able to sign a contract. You came about that by taking on a legal name so that you can sign a contract. Well, how'd you get a legal name? Oh, that simply happened when they translated, unbeknownst to you, and more than likely unbeknownst to your mother and father, they translated means to turn your given name and family name into a foreign language. Did you know that? Did they tell you that? Was that somewhere in the fine print that you did not perhaps read? Well, it's kind of hard to read when you're like an infant, right? So you didn't know. All right. There was no mutual assent. There was no consideration. There was certainly no equal value exchange because you were too young to do it. So your mother did it for you, but she did it in a particular capacity. Oh, might she have signed using her own legal name that she did not know how she got it? Did that make sense? Yeah. Might she have done it that way? I'm just saying. There's a whole lot of hidden stuff going on here, ain't there? A whole lot you weren't told, huh? And it took someone or something or a platform like this, KnowledgeWell Media. And now you're in the know, right? And so show your appreciation and the value. All right, so moving on. We already discussed this, okay, Dred Scott and all that kind of stuff. I think that's enough for tonight. We will leave more for part 3, all right? And if you are interested, you can get this whole series, all right? Make it worth your while. Listen, lastly, now this legal name is created, right? The translation, et cetera, right? Now you're able to participate in commerce and trade. Now you're able to sign legal documents and deeds and contracts and all that kind of stuff, right? Right? So we just want to make sure that you know that you have this capability, right? We want to make sure that you know you have these capacities and you haven't in fact lost them. You're an upstanding citizen. You're doing everything that Uncle Sam and his cousin, what's his name? Caesar wants you to do. You've done everything. You're a model citizen, right? So we want you to know that just in case you thought you might have lost your rights as a citizen and the privileges and capacities, we want to make sure that you know you haven't. And here's how you can evidence that you haven't. All right, so look, evidence of the legal name, that contracting capacity to participate in commerce and trade, right? That capacity. So how do you have evidence of that? Look, in general, a U.S. born person's legal name. So wait a minute. Who? A human being? No, a U.S.-born person's legal name is the name shown where? On his or her U.S. birth certificate. That's where the evidence is. They affixed it, stamped it, and enshrined it upon that official document, and that exemplifies, it shows anyone that comes across that document knows that this entity that is affixed to this document is a U.S. born person having particular rights and capacities and privileges. That's what the birth certificate is for. Now, next time, we are going to cover the difference between the birth certificate and the certificate of live birth. We're going to go deep into that, and I'm going to break that down for you matter-of-factly with evidences and proofs that they are not one and the same, they being the birth certificate and the COLB. We're taking this back to the basics. We're uncovering all the misconceptions and all the misdirection, and we're going to set it all straight. You are in the right place at the right time. We're here every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Do not miss the next session. Make sure any dissenters, anybody that usually would argue with you about things and all that kind of stuff, want to, these dissenters want to call you conspiracy theorists, want to tell you that you're a sovereign citizen, and all these other defaming labels. Make sure that they're here next week. I'll take care of them for you. Just bring them here. Just trick them into coming, put it on the big screen and grab them their favorite snack. And make sure they're sitting there nice and comfy. Even put the foot thing up for them. A lot of these things are electronic now. Put the foot thing up for them and just, grab a beer or whatever, buy them whatever they need and have them sit there. And we're gonna tear them a new one, all right? Because I'm going to lay it all out. This series will be hands down, all comprehensive, lacking nothing, all right? This is for all the dissenters, all the attorneys, everybody that is giving you a bruise. It's time for you to give them a black eye. And you're going to do that right through here, right? This platform right here, KnowledgeWell Media. This is the only place you're going to do it the correct way, all right? Remedy is 2022. Don't forget, all of you that have done the higher package, stay consistent with it. We have the remedy here, and we are now applying it. And we are going to the federal court. I am finishing up my complaint and my action right now as we speak. I've worked on it most of the day today, and so I'll keep you abreast on what's going on there. Exciting times. 2022 is your year. It's my year. It's our family's year. It's time to get it. All right. Enough is enough. All right. And KnowledgeWell is, like I've always told you, leading the way. All right. So with that being said, we are at 1 hour and 58, just short of 2 hours. Thank you for spending your time with me here Wednesday, the 18th, 2022. I appreciate all of you, and I definitely appreciate your support. Let's see if we can get more than one individual today to support financially. I would greatly appreciate it if you love this content and you love what we're doing here. The only way that we can continue to do so is with your support. All right. So don't think that don't think that your dollar, your 50 cents is too small, that it's it'd be an insult. It's not. It's not. It's just your good faith showing that you appreciate what it is we're doing here. All right. And so I appreciate anything you do. I do not despise the day of small things. All right. There's my disclosure. All right, 7:01 p.m. Central Standard Time, my time right now. We'll see you here next week, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, Wednesday. And for all of you Patreon subscribers, I missed my upload yesterday. I will work on that tomorrow and try and get you something up there fresh, that inside information, that hard hitting. Perhaps I'll do a little bit more on this or something new. You never know. But I will be putting up the video. I'll try to get that up tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the day after. All right, everybody else, please get on over to Patreon. We're trying to build a family here, and you're obviously here because you like truth. You like the information, you like the knowledge. So join the family. Let's grow this thing together. There's great things ahead. All right, and now you've been made free. What are you going to do with it? We'll talk to you soon. See you next week, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here, KnowledgeWell Media. All right, JURIS signing out. We'll talk to you soon. How can they get a personal form or character that represents their inanimate legal name, legal entity, that abstract idea of state, that creature of charter, that artifice? How can they do it? It's through recognition or recognition, or through your recognizance bond.
Start your journey today by liking, subscribing, and sharing our YouTube channel, KnowledgeWell Media, or by going to our Square site at knowledgewell-media.square.site and perusing over the available content and information. Also by submitting your email at the bottom of the Square site page in the Stay in the Loop section to receive priority information, specials, and other insider details. Or by signing up for a 1-hour consultation to tailor your specific educational needs in beginning your journey. You may do so at the aforementioned Square site, once again at knowledgewell-media.square.site.